Here's some facts about the Ukraine. Warm summers. In the Ukraine, you got warm summers across the greater part of the country. It's hot in the south, but the greater part of the country, warm summers. The Ukraine is number one when it comes to the production of sunflower oil. Don't even tell me that some other country is making more sunflower oil than Ukraine. And it's not just sunflower oil that the Ukraine is producing. The Ukraine is one of the largest producers of honey and dry peas and buckwheat, walnuts and rye and cabbage and cucumbers and carrots and pumpkins and apples and tomatoes and barley, sugar beets and what's the other one? And dates, potatoes, wheats, corn. So Ukraine is making corn, Ukraine is making wheat, Ukraine is making potatoes, dry peas, honey, buckwheat, walnuts. 1991, that's when Ukraine's very young. Ukraine isn't but 31 years old. Hey, Ukraine is 31 years of age. And that's a terrible. Russia is going to give them an invasion. That's not a good gift. August 24th, 1991, Ukraine says we're fucking independent. Its parliament proclaimed that the country would stop following the laws of the USSR and instead would abide by its own laws. In December of 1991, the voters of Ukraine overwhelmingly approved the referendum on independence. Yeah, fuck this bullshit. Fuck this bullshit. That's when Mila Kunis got the fuck out. She wasn't going to stick around, see how this goddamn election goes. No fucking sirree, Bob. The Soviet Union is collapsing. We're going to America. We're going to go to Hollywood and make it big. 1991, that's when Mila Kunis comes to America. Life expectancy rates between Ukrainian men and women have a 10-year difference. The expectancy rate for men is only 66 years, partially due to the high rates of alcoholism. The terrain of Ukraine, mostly fertile plains, steppes, and plateaus, with mountains found only in the west, the Carpathians, or in the extreme south of the Crimean Peninsula. Natural resources of Ukraine: iron ore, coal, manganese, natural gas, oil, salt, sulfur, graphite, titanium, magnesium, kaolin, nickel, mercury, timber, arable land. When I think about the Ukraine, all that goddamn land, all that land, iron ore, coal, manganese, natural gas, oil, and all that land. There's plenty of reasons why the socialists and the capitalists and the Greeks and the Scythians and the Skalati and the Mongolians and the Swedish Vikings and the Russians, they all been trying to get their goddamn hands on the Ukraine. The Ukrainians think that they're their own country. The Ukrainians think that they're the Ukrainian people. The Ukrainians think that they are their own nation state. They have their own, they got constitutionalism. They believe in democracy. Fucking that Pooty Poo and his Cooey Coo, he's a dictator. Motherfucker's been a dictator since 1999. 23 fucking years. What the fuck do you support? You're going to say any dictator who, cheats election after election and poisons his opponents and does a bunch of Hitler Nazi shit, you ain't gonna stand up and, the big thing about Nazi Germany, that think about, when it comes, the rubber meets the road, you have all these Jewish people being taken out by the Nazis, and nobody did a goddamn thing about it. Right now, that's what's happening in Ukraine. You got Jewish people being invaded, being attacked. And what the hell are the neighbors going to do? What the hell fuck is NATO going to do? NATO, you're not going to protect the second largest country in Europe. You're not going to protect the second largest, or the largest. You're not going to protect the largest country in Europe. If NATO and the United Nations and the United States, if we're not going to protect the largest nation state in Europe, we need to get out of the war game completely. We need to get out of the war game completely. Population distribution, the densest settlement is in the eastern part, Donbass and western regions. Notable concentrations are around major urban areas of Kiev, Kharkiv, Donetsk, Dnipro, Petrovsk, and Odessa. Ukraine's population has been steadily declining over the past 3 decades. In 2016, for every child born, there were 1.5 deaths. The high mortality rate is attributed to poor quality of life and limited access to health care. Famous Ukrainians: Mila, Kunis, Ina Shevchenko, Daniel Greenberg of the Sudbury Model School fame. Parents: his parents were born in the Ukraine. Joseph Conrad, the heart of darkness, the horror, the Ottoman Empire. They wanted the Ukraine. Everybody wants the Ukraine. Everybody wants the Ukraine. Russia wanted the Ukraine. Catherine the fucking Grape and Peter the Grape, they both wanted Ukraine. They, founded the cities of Odessa, Nikolaev, and Yekaterinoslav. Yeah, Dnipro, and Kherson. Yeah, they founded it, or they went ahead and said, hey, this city here, yeah, I found it. The city that was already established by the Tartars and the Greeks and the Tripilians and the Gravettians and the Neanderthals, a treaty of something. In 1774, the Russians got the territories of Azov and Kerch and Yenikau and Kinburn and small strip of Black Sea coast between the rivers Dnieper and Bug. The Swedes wanted Ukraine. 1882, the Kievan Rus, the famous Kievan Rus, the Vikings. That's the fucking Swedes. So the Swedes wanted Ukraine. King Oleg. The Greeks wanted Ukraine. Right? That's the Skalati, or the people after the Skalati, the Iranians. No, that's the Skalati. The Greeks called the Iranians the Skalati. The Mongolians wanted Ukraine. They invaded 1240. So you got Mongolians and the Greeks and the Iranians and the Russians and the Swedes. Everybody wants to take Ukraine. Everybody wants a piece of Ukraine. Hey, world, keep your damn hands off of fucking Ukraine. Ukraine is not yours. Ukraine is for Ukrainians. Peter the Grape, he got a toehold. Not a foot in the door, but a toe in the fucking door of Peter the Grape. And then Catherine the Grape. Fucking Kherson, Odessa. The glory of Catherine. Ukraine is famous for its fertile soil that's spread across much of the country. The Chernozem, or Black Earth, the soil and climate of Ukraine has made agriculture Ukraine's traditional occupation. Never cede the high ground. Never ever cede the high ground unless, of course, it's to get on better, more solid ground. The Chechens, the way they defeated the Russians, you just take 5,000, a group of 5,000 armed men, and just don't give up. Run around. They could take the cities. They could take the territory. They could take the buildings. They can't take your soul. They'll have to wipe out all 5,000 of you. It's how the Chechens won. Chechnya is still a country today. If one is confronted with a stronger enemy, you don't fight. You run, and you know, to live to fight another day. But if you're confronted by an equal or a lesser, you fight. I mean, Visa and MasterCard, they know how to make the right decision, right? Justin Trudeau and fucking Boris Johnson. The entire free world sees the dumb shit that fucking Russia is doing. How come so many of my hearers, yeah, you're anti-war. If you're anti-war, then you would stop the warmongers. They couldn't stop the warmongers. They couldn't stop the right wing in America. They can't stop anybody. They're a bunch of fucking... Ina Shevchenko said that Yanukovych had attacked her family. 2014 is the Maidan fucking revolution, or the coup d'etat. One man's coup d'etat is another man's revolution. We'll have to really get to the nitty gritty of the whole thing. But I bet you it wasn't just the CIA, it wasn't just a coup d'etat. I bet you some of the people of Ukraine didn't like that motherfucking Yanukovych fucking dick. And I bet you the people of Ukraine, some of them wanted to become a part of the European Union. That Yanukovych is a sketchy-ass figure. How come he's always in the hallway in the lobby? It's almost like Russia's paying that motherfucker millions of dollars just to be a monkey wrench in the system of Ukraine. To take Ukraine back. Russia doesn't even think that Ukraine is its own nation. That's Catherine the Grape and the Peter the Grape, and then Stalin fucking starved 4 million Ukrainians. You can't trust Russia with goddamn Ukraine. Yeah, right. They're going to start starving, the Ukrainians right away. Well, right from the get-go. First time Ukraine declared independence was when the Bolsheviks invaded them. And I heard there was a famine. The first famine happened in 1921. The one I know about is the Holodomor in 1932. You can't trust Russia around Ukraine. In fact, you need to put Russia over by Canada somewhere or some shit. You need to make sure Russia stays away from Ukraine forever and ever after this shit. Motherfuckers. Ukraine, that's not your country, Russia. Keep your hands off of the Ukraine. What the fuck's your problem, Russia? Lviv is home to the highest number of cafes per capita in the world. It boasts of 1,500 establishments. McDonald's in Kiev is reportedly one of the busiest in the world. 1954, Khrushchev, Crimea was transferred to Ukraine by Russia. February 1954 by Khrushchev. It's a way to unite Russia and Ukraine. Khrushchev says, this is a good way for good tidings between Russia and Ukraine. Russia's been trying to, took Crimea, took fucking Odessa. Peter the Great, I think, fucking 1709 or some shit. For 300 years, Russia's been trying to get a piece of Ukraine. Ukraine, I crane, we all crane for some Ukraine. Russia had Crimea. It was Russia's to give away. Khrushchev gave Crimea to the Ukraine. Putin wasn't allowed to take Crimea. In 1999, you're going to have over 20,000 people who got fucking killed in Grozny in the Russo-Chechen War. That's Putin. You got all those fucking tanks just sitting outside of Kyiv. They're going to flatten Kyiv. They're going to fucking flatten Kyiv. They're going to wipe out all the towns, all the buildings, all the skyscrapers. They're going to kill all the people, wipe out all the buildings. They're going to flatten it. They're going to be like Dresden, and they're going to, carpet bomb them. They're going to just nonstop carpet bombing, nonstop. And nobody better use any nuclear, chemical, or nuclear weapons. That's a thin red line. Who are the savages? Who are the goddamn fucking barbaric savages? Who are the civilized? Is it the democratic? Is it the free world? Is the free world the civilized people? Or is it the fucking right-wing dictatorship motherfucking invading dirty, rotten, low-life son of a bitch?